Ladies and gents, we're up close today. I need to remember that the camera's there, or else I'll just keep looking down here. Today we're going to look into caffeine and caffeine tolerances and how this can be bad over time. So obviously it's going to be going into the actual system itself of caffeine and what it does, but then also how if you take caffeine more often and then build up a tolerance, this can be worse and make you feel more tired in the long run. So obviously a lot of people's response to caffeine is tending to have caffeine and then when they get tired take more caffeine. But obviously this is going to make the effect of caffeine even lower and then just make you just not feel it as much. So obviously this is basically just going to accept it. Accept it's not the word I was after, but anyway. Energy systems, when you obviously go through the process and the Krebs cycle of making energy, you will have an output of androgen. So obviously androgen is basically what your body puts out after the system, and this will basically build up during the day and make you feel tired. So as you burn energy and use energy, androgen will build up. So I'm going to use a red, basically say the red is androgen. So it'll build up throughout the day as you make energy. And basically it's going to enter the cell and start to make your body feel tired. Now, caffeine, which I'm going to go for green, is basically, it's not a form of energy, it is basically a blocker. So this will stop the androgen that will make you feel tired from entering the cell. So it basically will block off the receptors, which are these gaps. So obviously this will slow down over time, and then obviously when it's fully worn out, androgen can come through and then make you tired for bed. This is why you shouldn't be having caffeine too late, because it basically just blocks the body's signalling and the signals that it should be getting tired and going to bed. Now, this is where a caffeine tolerance will come in. So obviously you're feeling good from this one, but as your body over time begins to get used to this amount of caffeine, it's going to open up more receptors. So naturally, the body's response to getting tired again is going to have more caffeine, so it's going to try and block these off. Now, normal system. If it got to the point where you didn't want to have as much caffeine, basically your body will take out all of these blocks and it's still got all the receptors available, so it's still trying to go through all them windows and your body's getting a flood of androgen, which is making you feel tired. So obviously you can't fight the response that the androgen is doing, and over time you can't block these off because your tolerance is so high now to get to that level, you can't keep up with it. So this is why you should be keeping caffeine levels monitored and at a lower level, just so the actual effect of it is low and you don't end up opening these receptors that's going to make androgen more susceptible during the day. So we want to aim for that just to be natural and keeping through the day. So in terms of general levels, there is caffeine levels between each age. So obviously if you're looking at caffeine sources, it's going to be coffee, energy drinks, tea, even Coke. Coke will be at a very limited amount. Now, at a certain degree, 10 milligrams per kilogram is considered as toxic for the body. So caffeine, which is generally, it's considered a drug anyway, so you need to be careful on how much you're actually taking in. 150 milligrams per kilogram, it is lethal, so it could actually kill you. So there was a study, I think it was at a university, where they measured it wrong with pure caffeine powder and they ended up in hospital because they ended up taking, I think, 300 cups of coffee's worth in one go. So it's important to check where you're going. Obviously you shouldn't be going to that level anyway, but if you are at a point now where you are so strung up and addicted to caffeine that your body now has to live with that, you try and cut off, you're going to have all this issue. You're going to feel tired a lot more of the time. So it's important to know when to have caffeine and realistically where you should limit yourself. For me, I tell clients to not take any caffeine past 2 p.m. The general half-life of caffeine is about 5 hours, so the full life is 10 hours. So realistically, even if you're going to bed at midnight, 2 o'clock, 10 hours. It basically just will help you get better sleep because the androgen's flowing through a lot easier for when you get to bed and you can sleep easier. There's probably more on this I can say, but this is all I can think of right